So where do you go now? I mean, you've had this big successful project at Elstree, and what projects are you working on at the moment?
So I'm back to my sort of slightly more normal bread and butter with video. So I do a lot of music video promos, and I tend to work in sort of the medium, low budget end of those. Really, really enjoy it. Only work with songs I like. Only work with artists I like. I've just done one for a hip-hop artist called The Last Skeptic and Dream McLean. Last Skeptic's a hip-hop artist who is really into visuals with his music. So he does lots of instrumental stuff and has the occasional rapper on top. But so he's done, me and him did an album 2 years ago where he released a song for every, he released a video for every song on the album. And I did a couple of those. He's really good fun, always good laugh, lets me get away with whatever I want. I emailed him saying, hey, I want to build a village scene and pour loads of paint over it. He's like, yeah, go for it. Here's some money, make it good. And I did. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, do work with him. And I think music videos are, they're not the be all and end all of what I enjoy doing in DoP work, but it's an amazing place to get some creativity out there and have a good laugh, have a good giggle. It doesn't pay so great, but it's really, really good fun. I can't imagine doing much else.
That's the important thing as well, that you're enjoying it. So.
I mean, yeah, I didn't get into the creative arts because I wanted to make loads of money. Yeah, exactly, you know what I mean? I once made a stop motion animation that I loved to pieces, did it about 3-4 years ago. It took me a month to make, did it all by myself. And after being paid for it, I sat down and just on a whim decided to work out how many hours I'd worked on it and compare the pay to that. And I realised I was working well below minimum wage. Well below minimum wage. But it doesn't matter. It was a passion project. It was beautiful. It was really interesting, and it led to loads of other good work. And I got a bit of a name about for it. But yeah, I wouldn't have chosen this job if I thought I was going to make lots of money out of it. That's not the motivation. I like making cool things. It's so nice to make something that people like. Like, that's really cool. It's really interesting. Something that people are willing to pay money for, pay money to see. That's still mind blowing.
Stuff you remember as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to see my name up on the screen in the Prince Charles Cinema last night. And I've seen it in a few other bigger cinemas, but seeing it at the Prince Charles, which is a cinema I go to quite a bit, and a cinema that I don't know if you've ever seen The Room, but I go see The Room occasionally there, and there's a thing where people throw spoons at the screen, and being able to see my name on a screen that I've thrown spoons at was really satisfying, like really, it was wonderful. If you've not seen The Room, I thoroughly recommend it. Tommy Wiseau's The Room is awful.
So bad that it's good, yeah.
So bad. There's actually a documentary coming out about it called, I think it stars James Franco. I think it stars James Franco. It's called Disaster Artist, and it's about the making of The Room. Definitely going to watch that soon. But yeah, that's why I do it. I do it because I get to make something that looks good, and hopefully people like it.
So that, would you say, is probably one of your working highlights as a DoP?
Yeah, definitely. Being able to see my name up there was great. Seeing the shots in Elstree, so like I said earlier, as a documentary, it's a bit difficult to inject creative shots into it sometimes, as a Talking Heads documentary. Yeah. But there are scenes we did where we recreated behind the scenes footage of Star Wars. That was really, really good fun. I can't take a lot of credit for that because all of that's in the costume, and it looks good, but it would have looked good anyway because it was a brilliant location, brilliant costumes, really good fun. But what I did get to do were these shots with toys. So all but one of the people we feature in the documentary have a toy based on their character. Okay. And so we introduced them in the documentary with shots of their toys, portraits of their toys, and that was a day spent in my studio playing with toys and doing these really beautiful, slow lighting movements around them, moving the shadows, kind of giving an impression of movement on the toys, kind of bringing them to life a little bit. Yeah. And getting to see that on screen was a really, really lovely moment.
It looked nice as well, having watched it last night. It was one of the things I picked up on, actually.
Oh, I'm glad.
So it's really good sort of opening to the film.
No, thank you. Yeah, that was really nice to see. Yeah, seeing people enjoy stuff you've done, that's the best bit. Anytime, actually, you know what? Another highlight. So I make music videos for hip hop artists occasionally, but I don't tend to do the sort of video you might traditionally associate with hip hop, particularly UK hip hop. I've never made a video that's just people walking around an estate, like wheeling scooters about, which is what I used to see a lot of 5-10 years ago. Yeah. I tend to make videos that would be much more at home, sort of in the indie music world, folk music world, lots of twee things really, and the hip hop fan sort of community loves seeing a bit of weird creativity in their videos, and it's happening more and more now, but it wasn't 5 years ago. So when I see the YouTube comments on videos I've made, particularly for hip-hop videos, and people are like, what the hell is this? How the hell have they done this? And really it's quite simple, and it's just because they've never seen it in a music that they enjoyed before, because people are busy off doing it with small indie bands. Yeah, it's really nice to do something really interesting, really creative, and then to show it to an audience that doesn't get to see that very often. And just reading those YouTube comments, watching people like lose their minds over stop motion animation or whatever, that's really, really lovely.
Any advice you'd offer to any DOPs interested in pursuing the career? Yes, got loads of it. Whether it's good or not is up to you to find out in the next 10 years of your career. Be nice. That's hands down the best bit of advice. Be nice. Be someone who is like not necessarily fun to work with, but easy to work with. Someone who you're not going to dread seeing on a set. It's unreal. I remember years ago when I first started doing stills on movie sets, so about 11 years ago. And I remember sort of seeing a lot of people at the top of the pile, at the top of the pecking order, who weren't very nice. And I remember thinking like, oh God, that's how you've got to do it. You've got to be difficult and be a bit of an arse. And oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I'd like to think that's not me. But I think over the years, slowly, people have got sick of that. And I'm noticing that more and more people are lovely, and the people who are difficult and cynical and nasty and do sort of aggressive networking, those sort of people who'll only be mates with you if you can help them, they do tend to progress really quickly, but they'll only get to a certain limit, and then no one will let them get any further because they're just horrible to work with. And then slower, the nice people who are a bit less overly career-minded will overtake them, and that's been lovely to see recently. So yeah, be nice. Be someone who, if someone sees your name on a call sheet, go like, oh, working with them was brilliant. They were a really good laugh. They were really nice. They're really friendly. They didn't get in my way. They didn't touch any of the stuff they shouldn't have touched. Particularly for DOPs, do back exercises. Take up some yoga. I haven't, but I wish I had. Big shoots, long shoots. My back absolutely kills me. So do something like that. Do some back strengthening exercises. Yoga is probably the best thing you can do. Improve your posture. Mine is awful. Years of going like this have left me permanently damaged. Work on jobs that are fun. And you will have to take jobs that aren't fun for money at the beginning, particularly, and probably for the rest of your life. But work on jobs that are fun as much as possible, because very few people as DOPs are making tons of money. People are mostly making money that just keeps them living and pays for decent rent, maybe. So don't waste your time doing stuff you hate for no money. There's no point. There's absolutely no point. If you're going to do that, go become an accountant. There's no need to break your back and work 14-hour days with 2 hours travel either side, when you could just go do a boring job that you hate anyway. That's easy and probably pays better. So yeah, work the stuff you enjoy, and And yeah, it's that old saying that, you know, find a job you love and you never work a day in your life. It's not quite true. It definitely feels like work. And when I get home and I throw my bags down, I know that I've been working, but it makes it a lot easier to get up the next day and do it again. Yeah, I've probably got more bits of advice, I don't know.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid. I mean, something like be nice, but I think that's such an overlooked thing. From my experience, I'm quite early into, you know, my kind of working career in film so far, but like what you said there about the people who are nice and that you pass the word of mouth and stuff on.
Oh yeah,
Important.
almost all of my work is word of mouth. Almost all of it. I'll get new clients from time to time, and I'll get people who've just happened across things I've done and seen my name and gone, okay, let's Google him. Okay, there we go. I benefit from being one of the only Sonny Malhotras on the internet. Very useful. Annoyingly, the only other one is a director in Toronto, but he's been very quiet over the last 5 years. Yeah, it's okay. I've stolen his website. He had sonnymalhotra.com for ages, and then he let it lapse. It's if I wasn't nice, those word of mouth jobs wouldn't come along, or if at least I wasn't nice enough. I'm not saying I'm great, but I'm decent enough to work with that people recommend me to other people. And if you're not nice, you just won't get those recommendations. You have to be really, really bloody talented to counteract that. Like, it's not worth it. Work with people who are nice. Don't work with people who are horrible. Work with people who are talented. Work with people who are better than you. I think there's a really big thing where people are worried about working with other people who are better than them. They don't want to be outshone. Don't want to be sort of in the shadow, but there's nothing better to sort of challenge you. I don't assist people on shoots as sort of like camera assistant and as a stills photographer very often. But there's one guy I do work with because I think his photographs are so much better than mine, and it's so worth working with. Even now, I'm 29, and I've got a full roster of a whole bunch of clients for still stuff. But if assisting work comes up with him, I'll do it in a heartbeat because it's so fascinating to watch someone who is better than me do stuff and learn and kind of go, oh, okay, I can do my own version of that. Yeah.
So don't let ego get in the way.
Don't let ego get in the way. There's a big joke on the Elstree, with the Elstree crew, particularly with the producer and the director, that I've got a big ego, and that I'm very, very immodest. I'd like to think I'm not. I think it's mostly because whenever I took the mick of myself on set, they'd join in and take the mick of me. So what I started to do was I'd start to just talk about how great I was all the time, but only as a joke, and they've taken it as writ. They've taken it that that's actually the case. It's really, really not, guys, I promise. Yeah, totally backfired. But yeah, don't let ego get in the way. Work with people who are better than you. Appreciate that they're better than you. I'll recommend that other photographer, a guy called Phil Sharp, for jobs that I don't think I'm good enough for all the time. It's fine.
Phil Sharp, all right, check him out.
Yeah, check him out.
Where can we find you online, social media, anything?
Right, so it probably goes back to some more advice I should have given. One is another bit of advice for other DOPs is definitely have a social media presence. And it's unreal how much work I get through having an Instagram with nice shots on, having a Twitter where I'm a little bit active. Twitter's always also a really good way of keeping in casual touch with someone you've met on set or wherever, where sort of you've not spent enough time talking to them to kind of maybe get their Facebook or whatever. It would be a bit awkward to ask to be their friend. But Twitter's a very good intermediate bit where you can kind of casually get to say hi to each other and remind each other that you exist, and exchange an email address on there and chat to someone later. So yeah, DOPs, anyone working in the creative industry actually, Twitter's really, really useful. But my Twitter is @PhotoSonny, PHOTOSONNY.
Okay.
Do it better than me. I involve way too much of my personal life on my Twitter. A lot of it is photography and video related, but I'm too angry about Brexit to not talk about it on there. But you know, maybe if I was more sensible, I'd be a bit more professional. I'd keep my thoughts on Boris Johnson away from it. But I'm me, and I can't. I'm also on Instagram with the same thing, Photo Sonny. I have a Facebook page that is woefully underused, and I'm constantly trying to remind myself to use it more. But I'm on there, Sonny Malhotra. Hopefully my name's along the bottom of here somewhere. But just Google that and I will be the first one you find, because I'm the only one with a decent web presence on the entirety of the internet. Yeah, so that's, and my website, sonnymalhotra.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming down and stopping by the radio station today.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers.